Hi, I'm Sarah. Thank you for joining me to talk about self-care and well-being today. I'd like to talk with you about judgment today, which, if you haven't noticed, is kind of out of control in the world right now. To me, it just feels like thick and sticky and weighted. Um, so much judgment being thrown around. And so I think that with that comes a lot of labeling and people wanting to define things through labels. And inherent in that is certain groups or labels are good or bad, right or wrong. There's a lot of this like black and white narrow thinking. And so some of that comes with, or I would say much of that comes because of fear. And what fear does is it just like narrows down our minds. And what I'm seeing is like things have gotten really tight with who and what we are willing to consider or be curious about. And instead, we're going into this right or wrong, good or bad. So I wrote something actually several years ago that I think gets at this labeling. And so I'm going to read that to you all and then talk a little bit at the end about what's the antidote to all of this judgment and labeling. Like, how can we work to keep that in check and be more conscious of it? And I just thought of one other thing I want to make sure I say, so I'm going to write that down for at the end. Okay, so here's my little piece. I wonder how many of our problems stem from the boxes we check in our minds, the boxes we use to identify who we are and to define ourselves. These are the same boxes we use to define who they are. I am, insert your political party of choice. I am, insert gender identity. I am, job title, hobby, sport of choice. I am, insert your sexual orientation. I am pro or anti, put in your political or wedge issue. I'm a, put in your family of origin. I'm a, your spiritual view or religious upbringing. I'm a, put in your dietary choice. In the absence of real tribes, is this how we've come to feel safe in the world? To feel that we understand ourselves and where we belong? These boxes we check make our complex, rapidly changing, often overwhelming modern world easier, or so it seems. If we know which boxes to check, we know what to believe, how to feel, who to trust, how to act, who to like, and how to vote. We can even put a sticker on our car, proud, fill in the blank, or a sign in our garage, fill in the blank, parking only, to affirm which box we belong to and to remind ourselves we do belong and we can burrow into those identifications more deeply and let the world know just where we stand. In a world where 101 kinds of milk and milk alternatives line the dairy aisle, these boxes seem to simplify. Once I've checked the box, I know what to think, right? I could even stop thinking and just move on. I mean, really, keeping a continuously open mind and an open heart means opening a lot of doors to a lot more questions, big questions, uncertainty. If I start to question my boxes and my labels or even let go of them, then what do I have left? Who am I? Asking that question takes courage. Letting go of one's box tribe is akin to being a pioneer in a pathless wood. But that is where the best discoveries and the richest, most genuine ways of living lie. We will never find the real answers to the real questions until we step out of these boxes and labels, until we connect with our hearts, until we stop identifying with the labels and start seeing ourselves and others for deeper qualities: kind, respectful, courageous, honest, patient, open-minded, creative, thoughtful, loving, and so on. Life can be much more graceful, genuine, meaningful, and free without these restrictive, cumbersome boxes to lug around. We are all being called to let them go and start living from the heart. That is where we connect with who we really are. And that is where we connect with others for who they really are, heart to heart. So I'm going to stop there and just go back to, why do we have all this judgment and all these labels in the first place? And I think the number one reason is fear. And certainly there's a lot of fear right now in the world about like 10 different things, just pick one. And so creating these labels and this judgment gives us a sense of maybe safety in a group. And like, of course, my group is the good one. I'm in the right group. That's what we all would like to think. And it creates some clarity in overwhelm. So, we don't have to think quite so much if we just identify with this label and then do whatever, the people in our group tell us that we should be doing and we should be thinking. So this helps. So we see it as a way to help with fear. What's another reason we do this? A lack of real genuine self-knowledge, I would say. Not fully knowing who am I. So it seems alluring to put on these labels and create a sense of identity. But of course, who we are is way beneath and much deeper than any of those labels. And then last, it can create a common enemy, which is really not a genuine way of finding connection. But sometimes we connect with people because we all agree that they are wrong over there and they are bad and they are definitely the problem. That makes us feel like we're in community. But that's all really on the surface. It's not a deeper, meaningful connection. And so what's the antidote here? And I guess that the first thing is getting to know yourself and your own heart. What really do you believe? Who are you? What feels good to you? Have an open mind and an open heart and think for yourself. Through that, you can learn to trust yourself versus the way that a lot of these labels work and the judgments work is putting trust in an institution often, whatever the institution. It could be a religious institution. It could be a health-based institution. It could be, an educational system, like whatever it is, it's putting your trust in something or someone else who will tell you what's good and bad and right and wrong. And then also connecting with a higher power. So whatever your word is, it could be God or the divine or spirit, whatever that is for you. So getting to know yourself and your creator and learning to trust both so that you can navigate the world in an authentic way. Third is then being willing to actually live and speak your truth, making the choices that individually feel best to you, instead of the choices that simply align with your group. That's not always easy to do, but that's how we can get out of this sort of narrow thinking that that we're in when we're in judgment. And last, I would say, or no, actually not last, sorry. As part of that, being willing to live and speak your truth, which we can all do that respectfully. Maybe we need to learn skills and tools to do that, but there's a way to do that respectfully. And we have to then also allow others to live and speak their truth, as long as it's in a respectful way. That's not, causing harm to oneself or others. So we need to learn to live our own truth, and we need to learn to let other people live their truth, and to accept that there isn't just one truth with many things. So the example I like to give is like, if I say purple is my favorite color, that's my truth. And I could say it should definitely be yours too. And I'm really great friends with everybody, and I agree with them, who thinks that purple's their favorite color. And I don't know if these people who like orange or whatever, no idea what their problem is. Okay, so I could come up with a lot of research about purple and the light vibration and like mythology and royalty used to use it. I could have all these arguments. It doesn't matter. That's not somebody else's favorite color. And they have their right to their favorite color, and I have my right to my favorite color. And so sometimes when we can think about it in a really sort of in a small way, then we can see if we can keep expanding that out, that understanding that we don't all have the same truth. We don't all have the same experiences. Like there's room for a lot of different ways of perceiving and being and living. And then the last thing I wanted to say was about curiosity. And I think that curiosity is what's behind all of this, is having curiosity about who am I. And when we notice ourselves judging and labeling others or their choices or creating these big groups like those people, and then all the things we think about them and why they're causing all the problems in the world, to catch ourselves and more come at things from a standpoint of curiosity. If they have a really different perspective than me, if I actually came at it from genuine curiosity, maybe I would learn something interesting. Maybe I would develop a broader perspective instead of such a narrow one, which I think, again, as a whole global society, we've come to, instead of like expanding our views in all the fear, we've come to narrow them. And so let's go back to curiosity, where we can just be interested and like ask questions, because curiosity leads to, possibilities and new ideas and new ways that can get us places that we never knew we could go. And narrowing things down just shuts the door to that. So yeah, I would just invite you to be curious and to be conscious of the judgment that's happening in the world, and to take a step back from it. And instead of like buying right into it and getting into the energy of, yeah, those people, or I'm with these people and the right and the wrong and the good and the bad, just step away from it, because that's not going to get us anywhere. So thank you for listening. And if you enjoy these tips, I hope you'll share with a friend or subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.